Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 22 of the Next Gen Bets podcast.
22.
22. We made it. We got
Time
a
to talk some baseball.
we are talking baseball. As Kyle said, we got a special one today. We're talking baseball. We're gonna go into a few of the over-unders on the season for you guys to bet on what we think, what we like. Mainly Kyle, he's the guy for baseball. He's the one. If you guys want to know something about baseball, Kyle's that guy. Um And then after later on in the episode or in the podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about college basketball. College basketball is coming to a screeching halt soon. We've got conference tournaments right around the corner in a couple weeks, and then right after that is March Madness, and then right after that, baseball season's in full swing. So we got a lot of exciting shit coming. So we're ready for that, but we're going to talk season over-unders for baseball first.
All right, so let's get right into it. We're gonna start with our five favorites. And then we're gonna talk the uh the more popular teams and what we like. But we're starting off with our five favorites. Number one, we're taking the Angels over. Line sits at 72, 72 and a half. Their Pectoa is at 77 wins, so nice difference there from the computer. Um, and yeah, basically this line is pretty much fully contingent on Mike Trout staying healthy, which I'm really expecting him to do because it's been a while. Baseball needs it. And then overall, Angels have been putting together young talent. Zach Neto, Nolan Shanuel, Christian Moore, possibly Logan O'Hoppe, um, Joe Adell in the outfield. So yeah, I think 72 is not a lot of wins. They're not in a super strong division. American League is not the same as the National League, although they play everybody. But I think they can grind it out, get to a 75, maybe a 80 if Trout plays like 160 games, something like that. But really, if he plays over 150, I don't see a world where they don't get this. Still got Rendon on the team, even though he's god awful. They added Jorge Soler for agency, a couple other pieces as well. They're putting in an effort, which is something we haven't seen from the Angels. They're the fourth worst over under, and I think they're better than that. I don't think they're gonna be playoffs anything like that, but I think they'll be relevant for most of the season. Maybe they sell these players like Jorge Soler at the deadline to a more contending team, get in more young assets. Or maybe they think they're at 500 at the deadline and they think they can add a piece. Who knows? But I really like them over the 72. And then our second one, this is our only under of the five we got. We're taking the Blue Jays under 78 and a half. Some places you can get it under 79 and a half. And this one's pretty simple. I think they're going to have a fire sale. I think they're going to suck. I think it's time, if they're smart and want the franchise to be better off in the next 10 years, you let go of Bo Bichette, you let go of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's probably going to leave in free agents anyway. You didn't sign the extension. That was your chance. So turn them into an absolute haul of prospects because that's what they will get. And then for my sake, I hope he is a New York Yankee after the 2026 free agency. That would be great.
It would. It would.
And then third one, this one's a little biased, but there's good reasoning behind it. I'm taking the Miami Marlins over 62 and a half wins. So basically, don't lose 100 games. That's what this line is. And basically there's not much you can get excited from the team. You got Xavier Edwards, who's a nice little slappy shortstop that's fast. Love those type of guys. And you got Otto Lopez at second base, very similar. Um, there's really no power hitters on this team. That's fine by me. I'm actually excited to watch the Marlins because they play, a brand of baseball we don't see in this day and age. New manager this year, not know what to expect from him. They let Skip Schumacher go because Schumacher wanted to win. The Marlins organization does not. They're definitely adding talent. They're going to trade Sandy Alcantara at one point. They have really good young pitching, and young pitching that is good will get you to lose less than 100 games. The only reason they didn't do it last year, Sandy Alcantara is hurt, Yuri Perez is hurt. Those are the big guys. They're going to trade Alcantara, but they got other young pitching that'll be there. Edward Cabrera, Braxton Garrett, Max Meyer. Hopefully, he's one of their top prospects. So yeah, I think it's a low line. Like it's not asking nothing crazy for them to, go out and win 63 baseball games. That's all we need here. I don't know. I feel like in years past, the Marlins have been that team that just does stuff we don't expect them to do. They had a playoff runs in 2021 and then 2020 or 2020, the COVID season, and then 2022. And it's just you never expect them to be there, but you check the standings mid-August, and somehow the Marlins are 75-75, fighting for a wild card spot with a team with 7 times their payroll. That's just what they do, and Bendix has done this with the Rays, so would not shock me if he does it again. And then our fourth one, pretty much calling this one the somebody's got to win this division bet. And we're taking the Cleveland Guardians. Guardians over 82.5 wins. So basically, you can even get it over 81.5 at -110. So basically over 500 the bet. They're behind the Tigers, Royals, and Twins for the on their line slightly. Tigers and Royals are 83.5, and the Twins are 84.5. And the Guardians consistently win this division. Why? They have the best player in the division. Actually, I'm gonna take that back because that's probably Bobby Witt, but it's been Jose Ramirez for some time now. Jose Ramirez probably loses the Bobby Witt argument, but he's still top 10 in baseball. Guardians have a solid pitching staff. They have the best closer in baseball. What helps you win games? A closer to not blow saves. So I'm taking the Guardians. They don't even have to win the division. Again, they just have to be over 500. And I would like them to win. I would take them to win this division as well. And then our last one, this one's pretty much picking the team to make the playoffs. Baltimore Orioles over 87.5. You can find this at -113. And 87's pretty much been the number for getting in the playoffs. Diamondbacks had 87 wins last year. They missed the playoffs. I think the Orioles they'll definitely compete with the Yankees for the division. They still have all the young talent on the offensive side. Bit disappointing free agency. They don't have a great pitching staff, letting Corbin Burns go. But Gunnar and Adley, Jordan Westburg, all the young guys they got, they're gonna, Grayson Rodriguez as well on the pitching side. No one's they don't have any regression going on here. Only regression is the players they lost. I guess that'd be technically subtraction. But they're gonna continue to get better. They got guys. They're gonna win 87.5 games. They're probably gonna be in the 90s. There'll be a wild card because I think the Yankees do win the division as long as Aaron Judge stays healthy. But yeah, those are my top 5 picks. Which one of those do you like the best, Connor?
The one that I like the most is the Angels. That is by far my favorite. I also agree with that. I think the Angels, a ton of young talent. Mike Trout, obviously, if he's healthy, they'll do well. And then the two ones that you talked about last, I like the Guardians. The Guardians seem like that team that they always find a way to win that division. And they're always floating right around that number. What is it at again? It's
It's
82 and a half.
500, 81.5. So
Yeah, so oh yeah, 81 and a half, 82 and a half, depends on where you look. So I see them going over 500, no problem. And then also the um Baltimore Orioles would be my pick. And part of that is because call me crazy. You honestly you said the opposite, but I do honestly think that the Baltimore Orioles might have like a sleeper chance of winning the division this year.
oh, they
Um,
definitely do.
they almost won it this past year, and the Yankees, the Yankees did make a lot of big moves. Well, not big moves. They did their biggest move was losing Juan Soto, unfortunately. They did make quite a few moves though this offseason. But with a team that call me crazy. I think is significantly better last year. They almost lost the division to Baltimore late in the year. There was a bit of a race going on, and then Baltimore threw it away. Um, so I can see Baltimore with their young team getting better. They're not as young as the Angels, but they're fairly young still. I can see them performing well and winning the division potentially, which would most likely put them over that win total. Um, so I like that one as well.
Yeah, and then let's talk about the Yankees. We'll kind of group them together with I guess the big teams in baseball. So Dodgers over 103.5, Braves 93.5, Phillies 91.5, Yankees 91.5, and then Mets 90.5. These lines to me, I kind of like all of them to go over, but pretty much 3 of them being in the same division: Braves, Phillies, Dodgers, or Braves, Phillies, Mets. Somebody's gonna go under. These are pretty much trap lines in my opinion. The way it works is you give a number that's enticing to bet the over on, and then all the book has to do is have 1 to 2 of these teams go under. And usually how you're going to get there is they're led by old players. Old players get injured. So basically, Yankees are 91.5. Aaron Judge plays a full season. Yankees will be over 91.5. They've proven that's what they do in 2022 and 2024. But then if Judge is hurt and misses a ton of games like he did in 2023, Yankees will not sniff this line. So this is pretty much the average of those past 3 years. You get 91.5, even though they haven't really been near 91.5. They've been too high and then one low. So you get the average. Kind of same thing with the Mets. If you lose Soto or Lindor, they're not getting to the 90. I think their pitching staff's weak. So although I do think they get over 90, I don't think I don't like it. Like I'm not super confident in that one. I do like the Braves because I think they will run away with the division. They tend to do that, and they didn't win it last year, so I think it's their turn to go get it back. And then the Dodgers, um, people are talking about them beating the win record. Even a player of theirs, Miguel Rojas, was talking about it. So I do like them over 104. But then again, they have a lot going on. It's kind of like I don't want to call it a circus, but there's so much attention going on to that team. It's hard to lock in and put together 116 wins like those Mariners did because they definitely did not have that same amount of attention, especially with Ohtani coming back to pitch at some point. They'll be switching to a six-man rotation. Could mess with things, but they have a crazy amount of depth. So I'm not too worried about injuries. But with this amount of stars they have, somebody's going to get injured and not be there. So if they miss by 2 games, you'll be like, oh well, if Blake Snell was healthy, they would have got there. But that's the way it goes. So I'm kind of avoiding those lines, but I am definitely enticed to maybe parlay some of those nice Yankees, Dodgers, Mets over their number parlay if they will allow you to do that, which not all books do. That would pay out nice. And then real quick, let's talk some of the futures. Yankees to win what is this here? So that is not what I wanted. I am sorry.
Well, the Yankees
Um
to win the AL East, the Yankees are plus 100 right now on FanDuel.
yes.
And then Baltimore Orioles are plus 250, and the Red Sox are plus 440, and then from there on, it's kind of
Yeah.
long shots. So
And
the
the Yankees are like plus four something to win the American League. I like that.
yeah, they're plus 300 to win the AL on FanDuel. Um,
I think the Yankees are they may not win the division, but I think they're clear cut the best team in the American League. Like when you lock into a playoff series, the rotation is there. They have the top notch bats, and they one of my big things is they have one of those guys that step up in the playoffs. They have a guy that steps down. Everybody likes to hate on Aaron Judge, but they have a guy in Giancarlo Stanton that continues to rise. And they have a lot of they also for a team that just went to the World Series, they have a more amount of young talent than you'd expect them to have, with Volpe, Wells now starting a rookie, Jason Dominguez, and then I still consider Jazz Chisholm as a young player. We don't exactly know what we're getting from him. So I'm very
yeah,
excited
I do
about
like the
that.
Yankees. I like I said, I still think that there's a chance that the Orioles win the division. And it's gonna fully come down to health. It's going to come down to Aaron Judge, but also everybody else on the team. If Aaron Judge goes through a slump, everybody else has to carry through. Giancarlo Stanton really carried in the playoffs. He was great. Wells was great this year. He kind of had he I would call it like a breakout year. He had a good year.
And he,
Um,
he ran out of gas at the end of the season, so hopefully the
he did.
spiriting and better preparation prevents that from happening again. So
Yep. I think hopefully Volpe takes a big step this year. Um, that would be great to see out of Volpe. And then,
and Jazz.
you got Jazz. A full season with Jazz would be cool to see. I'm interested to see that. And then honestly, like now the thing that the Yankees do have, I think they have good pitching. Um, Especially now
Yes.
that they have a solidified closer.
Yep.
Assuming everybody is healthy this year for them. They don't have any issues with health at pitching. That was a major issue 2 years ago.
Always an issue. Really.
It's always an issue, but 2 years ago specifically, and then Judge getting hurt. That's the main reason we saw the Yankees miss the playoffs. So,
That
um,
that wasn't as good of a constructed roster as well.
yeah,
So
exactly. So we'll see. I think the Yankees are going to be really good. I'm not saying they're not going to be good. Because the odds say it. The Yankees to win the AL, the Yankees are plus 300, and the team in second place behind them are the Baltimore Orioles.
yep.
So, um. That kind of goes to show you that the AL East is the division that uh kind of they're projecting it's going to be the one that decides the AL, but it also shows that it's going to be a tighter race, I think.
Yeah. And then National League, real quick. I think the Dodgers win it, but plus 135, there's no reason to bet that. Just bet the Dodgers to win every playoff game. if you think they're gonna do it, you'll get more money out of that than betting them plus 135 to win the season or the just at this time. But Braves at plus 550, I think, is your value play. Um, like if the Dodgers weren't as stacked, it'd be like 300, like it probably should be. But everybody's gonna put money on the Dodgers, so Dodgers have to have super high odds, so that makes the Braves odds longer for us to get some value out of that. And then AL Central, I wanted to mention that because we talked about the Guardians. They're third best odds, plus 290 to win this division. They went to the ALCS last year. That's really all you got to say. They're the only team with substantial playoff experience. Their star and closer is that duo is better than any other duo. Like I'd say Bobby Witt's better than J Ram, but add in Emmanuel Clase and no one else can compete with that. So um, I'm taking that. That's I think I won this bet like 2 years ago at the actual casino because I couldn't have an app at that time. But I had a nice bet on the Guardians to win the division.
Yeah. I like the Guardians as well. That's one of my favorite picks that you have. They just always seem to get it done.
Scrappy fruit.
Yeah, they just find a way. And that AL Central every single year is always up for grabs, like the odds show. The odds are as follows. The Minnesota Twins are
Every year it's Minnesota is the favorite. Minnesota starts the season hot. Minnesota is great. Minnesota's this, and then Cleveland wins the division. It's what it always is.
yeah.
And then this year we finally had like a little bit of a push from Detroit and Kansas City, which was good to see as a baseball fan. We saw
Yeah.
those two teams, get in the mix, but really in since the Royals championship, Guardians went to the World Series the year after, and then the Guardians have been in it. Them or the Twins at the top, and the Twins just have way too much injury concern, and they didn't add anything in the offseason. They have some issues going on with a TV deal where they don't really have money to spend in free agency. They're tied into the Carlos Correa contract. Every one of their stars is aging besides Royce Lewis, and even Royce Lewis, as good as he is, can't stay healthy. So, I definitely wouldn't bet on Minnesota. I could see them doing it if things work out right for them, but definitely not betting on them with all the things they have going against them.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's talk some basketball and wrap up episode 22 of the old podcast here. It's almost March Madness. That's really exciting. It's almost March. Actually, it might be March by the time you watch this. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing.
No, hopefully it's the day before March,
Yeah,
ideally.
you could watch it a day late. No judging.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I'm saying hopefully this is up before March, but yes.
Um, I'm kind of mad. My big sleeper pick is the Clemson Tigers, and I've bet them on all year. But they keep climbing up the AP poll, where they might be looking at getting a 4 or 5 seed in the tournament if they do well ACC tournament in the end of the season here. They can't have a sleeper pick if they're 4 seed.
Yeah, I mean it isn't really a sleeper at that point.
I'm kind of I do, however, I saw some guy, he had Marist beating Duke in the first round of the bracket. That's ridiculous. I think this is one of the best Duke teams we've seen.
No, yeah, Duke is disgusting. I'm not fading Duke when March comes
Lost
around.
to Clemson. Lost to Clemson. Just saying.
Yeah, they did lose to Clemson, but I'm not fading Duke at all. Like they're nasty. They go through the ACC tournament and in the NCAA tournament. I'm not fading Duke.
So I do have an ACC bias. Um, but I think Clemson and Duke and Louisville a little bit, but I'm not as high on them. I think Clemson and Duke will have good runs. Like that could maybe not a national championship game, but that could be a Final Four or an Elite Eight by the time those two teams run into each other. Um, I think with the ACC being bad this year, because it is bad. Like the depth is not there as in typical years, like North Carolina, Miami's been good in the past. Like usually ACC is like a 5 to 6 bid team league. This year it's gonna be 3, maybe 4, probably not. But I think this is like the best top two in the ACC. Usually it's like a mix of just mid teams, but you have Clemson, that's a good senior led team, and then you have Duke with the best French freshman in the country. And I don't know, I'm not going against Coach K or anything, but I think John Shire runs Duke a bit differently. That it relates to the players more. Like the way Con Knappel and Cooper Flag talk after games compared to like watching RJ and Zion and Cam Reddish do it. they care a lot more about basketball. Like Zion said stuff about liking Duke and whatever, but he was always going to league. Obviously, NIL has an impact on that, but I seriously believe Cooper Flag might come back to college basketball because of how much fun he's having at Duke. Because they're winning national televised games against good teams by 40 in MSG, which is usually not what happens when you have one of those type of games where you got, a non-conference showcase middle of the season like Duke and Illinois did last weekend.
Yeah. Duke is fucking disgusting. To put it simply, Duke is nasty. Um, so I'm not at all fading them. Clemson's good too. But Duke is just like one of those teams where normally like you're like, oh, they're in the spotlight, like they're just overrated. No, Duke's not. Duke is
Yeah,
not overrated.
not this year. I
Not even.
think people are overrating them because they think the SEC teams are better, which I mean it could be. SEC teams are very good, but I think Duke deserves their
Yeah, no,
credit.
they deserve credit.
One
I
of my
think depth wise, the SEC is
yeah, it is as a conference, but that
one of the
doesn't
best
help
conferences.
them.
But the Big 12 is there too. They're there.
Yeah, but
Um,
my point is that doesn't help them get tournament runs.
no, no, no. Yeah, I'm not even talking about that. I was literally just saying
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when it comes like you were talking about the depth of the ACC. Depth wise, the Big 12 and the SEC are pretty
yeah,
legit.
yeah. I was trying to talk about it as in like that by the ACC being bad, they're like underlooking these top two ACC teams, and the fact that they really haven't had to try hard in the regular season, um, is going to benefit them in the playoff. People are like, oh, they're just from a weak conference,
You know,
where these
it'll be
teams are
legit.
going to be feared. They're going to get like almost. I mean, it should be everybody's best effort in the March Madness, but uh, playing Tennessee, you're not going to take them lightly because you know what they are, and everybody hypes them up like media wise to where they're top five team, even though they have the same record as Clemson, who's in some polls all the way down at 16, even
Yeah,
though they're both 22-5, I believe at the moment. That
yeah.
goes with like there's teams with worse records that are ahead of other teams just because you lost to an SEC school that doesn't count. But like a loss is a loss. If you lose one in the tournament, you're done.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
But overall, betting wise, college basketball is a bitch, really. College basketball is tough to bet. We put out good bets. They haven't been going great. We just keep riding out end of the season. We'll make plays in March Madness, hopefully to get the money back. That's really what you got to do. Well, I'm still confident we'll finish up end of the season, but we are down at the moment. Definitely got to talk about our losses with our wins. Um, but yeah, a lot of just I was talking to my friend about this earlier. A lot of like just not dumb. I always want to call it dumb losses. Like if I was like on the team, but like you take a team minus 15.5 because they're 30% better against the spread than the opponent they're playing, and they're minus 900 favorites, and they just lose outright. So it's just like really, like it's not like we're getting screwed on bad beats. We're just getting like just full on garbage. Like teams not showing up. Like we had Nebraska money line against Penn State 2 weeks ago or something like that, and they lost by like 30, and they're down. It was like wire to wire. They just didn't show up, and it was like even type of thing where Nebraska needs it to boost their resume to get in the playoff or to March Madness. Sorry. Um, and that stuff is just frustrating because not only do we want to hit the bets, but we want to enjoy watching the basketball games that we bet on. And when you go down 24 in the first 17 minutes, it's not much enjoying I can do. Really,
No, not
it's
much.
not good.
No. Um,
No.
but yeah, that is kind of that's how it is. That's college sports, you know.
Yeah.
You see it in college football, it's just less frequent because there's less games. But like for example, Florida losing to Georgia, just wild. Um, that was a closer spread. It was like seven. It was a 7.5 spread, but like most people
I
were like,
wanted to pick Georgia, but I thought about it because Georgia was like 19-2 at home. But I was
yeah,
like, well, it's Florida.
it's Florida.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah,
That'd
no,
been
that was crazy. Outright, Georgia outright is wild there. But when and honestly, it doesn't get any more predictable. It gets even more unpredictable, I would
yeah.
say, the
When it
further
gets
you get
March,
into the year.
everything's
And the
possible,
second
really.
March hits, it's like a different game, you know, it's a different world. And you can't predict conference tournaments, you can't predict the March Madness, that's for sure. Um, there's certain things this year I'm definitely not gonna assume are gonna happen, you know, but like it's impossible to predict. And so you just kind of gotta like that's just the reality of the situation. But uh March is going to be a
No.
good time. March is going to be a good time for us.
But what's not impossible to predict is the National Basketball Association. We've been doing pretty good on NBA bets. And we haven't been not a crazy amount of volume. We definitely been focusing more on college basketball. But with college playoffs coming up, those are a little harder to bet. Uncertainty there. We'll bet more NBA. And my favorite thing is we're past the trade deadline. Everybody's acclimated at this point. It used to be you just get traded and you play, and now it's well, I need a week to adjust my family and all this woke nonsense, really. Um, Load management garbage. Um, but yeah, NBA teams are all set. We know what teams are. We know at this point there's no more changing of players, that stuff. So fine, it's back stretch of the NBA. I think it's like 20 games left, 20, 25 games pretty much for everybody. And where NBA heats up. And then NBA playoffs are much more predictable to bet, I would say, than March Madness, where you can make some good money betting a team to, 4-0 a team. Like the Celtics play the Pacers in the semis or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to line up. Or actually, when the Celtics play the Knicks in the semis, because the Knicks cannot mess with the Celtics, it seems. I don't understand why, because they match up well on paper. But every time Knicks and Celtics play, Knicks lose by 40, it seems.
It's kind of crazy.
It really is. Really is.
But that's not as close as March Madness, but the NBA playoffs will be here before we know it too. But like Kyle said, the NBA is a little bit it's more predictable in that sense. It's an easier read. You can understand what's going to happen. Like look at the probability a little bit better. College basketball, there's too much shit going on. There's just too much. It's way harder.
We
Hence,
should we should have traded Luca. I thought about it, but I didn't want to be that guy. But that's the way it tends to go in like a like talked about thing like that. Luca's under hit nicely. Not his assists, but his points. They didn't
Mhm.
let him get shots up really.
Yeah,
Every time every time he had the ball, they were blitzing him.
you
But
said something about that on Twitter, didn't you?
I was all over it.
You said
All over it.
you liked it. You didn't take it. You said you didn't take it, but
I,
you said
I
you
I
liked it.
wanted to take it, but I also was gonna watch it and root for him to drop 100 really, just
Yeah,
to piss off the match. So I just couldn't bet against him, but it was definitely the play.
yeah, it was. But hey, you got the right read. You had the read. All right, that's all that
Had
matters.
the goggles on,
Exactly,
seeing it.
exactly. You're just seeing that shit.
Yeah,
Shit, my bad. You got any other basketball to talk?
that's it. That was good basketball yap session, really.
Yeah.
Keep checking the Twitter. We're posting. I'm trying to do more, not like not non-posting, but like more responding and more talking to other posts than just my bets. So
Yeah,
working on it. I'd be sitting in class going through Twitter trying to find stuff to say.
yeah, yeah. And that's how you got to do it. Um,
Yeah.
So no complaints there. But yeah, just make sure you guys checking that shit because we are very very up to date on that. Very post on that quite a bit. I know Kyle posts on that a lot. He's our main poster right now, so I'll give him. He definitely earns that credit. Uh, he's out there giving you guys plays. Sitting there grinding through study halls or whatever it may be. Or
No,
just
just I pay zero attention.
during class.
Yeah.
Um,
I got an ethics class, and that's pretty much Twitter class.
yeah,
I
exactly.
got
So
a,
that's
I got a
perfect.
world history class before the ethics class, and that's usually where I do my bets.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just
Get a
great.
little bit of attention in biology, but not those other ones.
So it's good. It's good to see that. And you guys just hit it up. Hit it up. It's linked. It's probably below us. It's somewhere below us. So you guys can check that out. It's definitely linked. So check it out. He's always up to date on there. And like he said, we're trying to expand, broaden our horizon, so to speak. Um, respond to people. Also, they added videos. They added like a video tab to X. So I'm wondering if maybe we could also use that as our YouTube shorts could go onto there too. So, look out for that. There's potential there. Um, but other than that, I'd like to do something fancy, maybe not something fancy, but come up with something a little creative as March Madness nears. We'll see. Um, see what we can come up with, make that a little bit exciting.
We'll have a bracket talk video for you.
Yeah, well, of course a bracket. That's happening. We did that with college football. I think that actually did really well. But so but we're definitely going to be doing something like that. So that's something to look forward
We'll
to.
probably do some conference championship brackets.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I think it's the Sun Belt is doing I don't even know what the word is, but it's the like 14 seed plays the 13, winner plays the 11, winner plays the 9, winner plays the 7, and then the other side it's like the opposite. So it's instead
I
of a
think
bracket, it's
isn't
just
that how
everybody
that's how
at
the
the top.
WCC does?
Yeah, but they don't have as many teams, so it doesn't look as stupid. They only have like 8.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some else got like 14, and so there it's like 14 plays 13. It's just
It's gonna
they
be fun though.
so
That's gonna be sick.
it's a V on
Yeah,
your
yeah.
bracket. It's ridiculous.
I'm
But
a slut for brackets. I love brackets. Like when it's bracket time, I fucking look at those things. I like looking at them. I like keeping up on them, keeping track of them. So you guys wait till bracket season starts, like the conference brackets, all that. Give us a couple weeks. I think it's literally a couple weeks, and then we'll get
mid
going.
March.
I'm gonna be really fucking excited for that. So that'll be something to look forward to.
We got JUCO playoff basketball at my college this weekend, so I will be in taking some of that. It's not bad basketball for the level. I get to sit courtside too. It's pretty fun.
There you go. That's all that matters. So that'd be pretty sick. Um, but yeah, other than that, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Make sure,
Well,
like we said, check out all the socials. We gotta. That's one thing we gotta get more consistent with that. I think I said that literally last episode too, and we haven't done it yet.
we had a lot of episodes.
If that says anything to you guys, but we're trying. We try. We sit here and try. Um, but yeah, and then also at this point, you guys haven't seen it yet, but we have some cool shit coming out for the off season of the NFL. So that's also something to look forward to. That you guys will be seeing that after this comes out. Hopefully, like within a couple days max, you guys will be
Yeah.
seeing that. That'll start to roll out. That'll be sick to see, and that's something we've been working on a little bit, putting some decent effort into. So that's going to be exciting. Um, but yeah, other than that. That's all we got, and then you guys just got to stay here and stay local and keep watching for whatever we push out. You got
Sir.
any closing thoughts?
No, sir.
All right. Well, all right, then we will see you guys next time. All right. You guys have a good one.